Good Saturday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Jesse Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Saturday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about tonight, but before we get into that, let's go on and just talk about what are we even going to talk about for tonight. We're going to first off talk about the fog risk as we go into tonight, Sunday morning, current conditions, weather for tonight, weather for tomorrow. We also will talk about our short term future, unseasonably warm temperatures persisting through midweek, increasing showers, less thunderstorm chances Sunday through Wednesday, and then widespread rainfall threat likely Thursday with cold front. And after that's done, a post frontal cool down and drier conditions as we go into later next week and like Friday and like next weekend. So we are going to go on and talk about all of that as we go on and go into tonight. So if you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Right now we have around like a good 5 people watching so far and only one like. If you're a part of that group of 4 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Also make sure that you go on and hit the subscribe button. We're at 712 trying to get to 800. And then also go and hit the share button. Share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to because it is free and you can change your mind and they can change their mind at any time as well. So let's go on and talk about our live chat. What's currently going on throughout the state of South Carolina? Well, if you remember, I said this morning, if you were here this morning, I said we had a marginal risk of severe weather for today, and that if you had a special weather statement, a severe thunderstorm warning, whatever, make sure that you are paying attention. And I also said that the time frame would be around 6 o'clock p.m. to around 12 to 1 o'clock in the morning. And for the most part, there is special weather statements going on right now. We have special weather statements over here inside of Salem, include Salem, Devil's Fork State Park, Oconee State Park, Mountain Rest, Bad Creek, all included. Gusty winds of up to 50 miles per hour and pea-sized hail. Then we have one down here for Walhalla, Seneca, 6 Mile, Westminster. That's for 50 mile per hour wind gust. And then maybe even 0.25 inches in diameter here, which is pea-sized. And then there's one up here as well that includes Tigerville, Saluda, Glassy Mountain, Cleveland, South Carolina, and that's for 40 mile per hour winds and pea-sized hail. So all of these storms, all of this shower activity that we have going on throughout these areas, thunderstorm activity, it is producing some gusty winds. And you can definitely see where that thunderstorm activity is happening. You can see it clear as day here on the map. So let's go in and scroll our way out, see what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise right now. Currently, we'll talk about for the future at the end. But you can see just how long the system is. I mean, it goes all the way from Maine down in through New England, down into the Mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley, going up into Arkansas, over into Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, all throughout the Carolinas, and all the way back up. So this is what it looks like right now. And so, for the most part, we're seeing this huge system full of rainfall, full of flooding potential, full of severe weather going on with it. And we have a severe thunderstorm watch down there inside of southern Texas. So, we have flash flooding going on over there in parts of Louisiana and Mississippi. And if we go in and look other parts, because we're not done there, I mean, rainfall going on in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, Montana, going on in Washington as well. And look at how dry we are down here inside the west, especially the southwest. Looking very good over there. Florida is getting some rainfall. That is also something else. Now, in terms of cloud cover, for the most part, it looks like that we are mostly clear. We do, in fact, have some cloud cover going on, though, throughout the parts of the upstate, the Midlands, parts of the PD areas as well. Low country is pretty clear. Grand Strand area is pretty clear. But for the most part, it looks like cloud cover activity is still present, but it's not as present. And if we look at our cloud cover for the future, you're going to push this forward. We go through 12 o'clock in the morning, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Look at how that cloud cover right here will start to get a lot more throughout the state. That is because, obviously, the storm system that's going to try and move through as we get into tomorrow, that's going to bring us a bunch of cloud cover activity throughout the entire state, not just throughout like a little area. So we're going to see cloud cover almost all day tomorrow. And it will clear out, going into Sunday night, Monday morning. It looks like that we definitely for sure is are we definitely for sure are seeing that cloud cover starting to move its way out of the state by the time we get into Monday, even into like Monday at noon to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I mean, look right here at 5 to 6 o'clock p.m. Nice and clear conditions. Remember, the white is the clear conditions, blue is the cloud cover activity. And if we go on and look at our current temperatures right now, you have around a good 65 in Somerville, 65 in Charleston, as well as 65 in Beaufort, 64 Hilton Head Island, as well as a good 69 in Orangeburg, 71 in Columbia, and 70 in Aiken, 65 in Georgetown, and 64 in Murray's Inlet, 63 in Myrtle Beach, and 65 in Conway, 70 Florence and Hartsville, as well as 70 in Bennettsville, 67 in Lancaster and Union, as well as 66 in York, and 67 inside of Rock Hill, 66 in Gaffney, Spartanburg, Greenville, as well. Air quality for tonight looks like that we are mostly kind of split. You know, you see a good amount of moderate activity from Columbia to Florence to Sumter over there to areas around Columbia like Irmo going on near Gaston. Orangeburg's included. And then up there inside the very far upstate, Greenville's included, Anderson, Clemson, Walhalla, all these areas, moderate risk. But everybody else, just the good risk for our air quality. That includes pretty much all the low country, Grand Strand areas, and a good amount of the upstate Western Midlands as well. So it looks like for the most part, it's going to be pretty nice in terms of air quality. I mean, moderate's not abnormal, so it's something that we see relatively pretty often. Low temperatures for tonight, you have around a good 61 in Greenville, Spartanburg, Lawrence, as well as Anderson, Greenwood, Newbury, all these areas 61, Charleston at 61, Myrtle Beach, Georgetown 61, 62 in Kingstree, Winnsboro, going on over there near Rock Hill, Barnwell, Walterboro, 63 in Hilton Head Island, as well as good Camden, and 64 also inside of Columbia, Orangeburg, Sumter, Florence, Cheraw, Dillon, all these areas near 64. And some areas may even get to the mid to maybe even trying to get into those upper 60s a little bit in terms of low temperatures for tonight. So very warm tonight. High temperatures for tomorrow, you have around a good 74 in Greenville, 73 in Anderson, as well as 75 in Spartanburg, 76 Rock Hill, 74 in Lawrence, 75 in Greenwood, as well as 82 in Columbia, Orangeburg, Barnwell, Walterboro, Moncks Corner, 81 in Florence and Kingstree, 80 Cheraw, Dillon, 74 Myrtle Beach and Charleston, as well as 77 in Georgetown, 75 in Hilton Head Island. For your rainfall, as we move throughout the next 24 hours, rainfall is definitely going to be a bit of a concern as we move throughout the next 24 hours. And that is because this system that's moving through also with thunderstorm activity as well. 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch for areas like Cheraw, Florence, Sumter, Kingstree, going on over inside of Moncks Corner and Georgetown, Orangeburg, Aiken. 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch over inside of Columbia, Winnsboro, Rock Hill. Also inside of Myrtle Beach. Quarter of an inch to a half an inch goes on for Greenville, for Spartanburg, for Lawrence, Greenwood, and somebody may even get a half an inch up to an inch. So it's possible. Definitely it's possible that we go on and continue to see some of us maybe even try and get up to that inch category. Now, in terms of the crazy score, if you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is a score that we see how crazy the weather is throughout the entire state of South Carolina. And right now we're at a 12. Why are we at a 12? Well, for the most part, it is because fog is possible as we go throughout tonight. Fog is possible. We've honestly been seeing that threat for fog almost every day for like the past 5, 6, or 6 days, maybe even up to a week at this point of fog, like every single night, every morning. And for the most part, we're continuing to see just some cloud cover activity starting to really move in as we get into tomorrow morning. So it's going, like, I mean, we already just saw the cloud cover. The cloud cover right now, honestly, it's not that bad. It will build as we continue and go into, like, tomorrow morning. But for right now, it's pretty light. Winds are going to be calm. You know, showers going on right now. Maybe even a storm going on right now. But for the most part, calm. SPC outlook for tonight, still keeping that marginal risk up there inside of the very far upstate. There is storms producing gusts of up to 50 miles per hour right now, and there's a new one that was issued over here for not a too populated area, but it's like an extension over there near like Table Rock State Park. Pumpkin Town 9 times, and Rocky Bottom, all those areas up there just got put under a special weather statement for 40-mile-per-hour winds just now. So that's continuing up there inside of the upstate. SPC outlook for tomorrow. Thunderstorms are also possible, and some of them may even be severe. Marginal risk, that's for Rock Hill, just to the north of Florence, as well just to the east of Spartanburg. Have that marginal risk there. And then, for the most part, everybody else, thunderstorms are possible. So it doesn't matter if you're not inside the dark green or not. Light green still means thunderstorm activity, so make sure that you are watching for it. And then Monday, upstate has a chance for a thunderstorm on March the 9th here. For fire weather, we're not expecting anything here, so do not, don't have to panic about anything about that, or don't have to worry about anything fire condition-wise. But in terms of excessive rainfall, they did add this excessive rainfall risk a bit earlier, because this was not here earlier this morning when I did the forecast. So they added this probably midday or somewhere around there. And this goes from obviously now until around 9 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. So isolated flash flooding, they have is now possible over here for Greenville, near Boiling Springs, Travelers Rest, Pickens, Walhalla, Westminster, Clemson, Anderson, Iva, Due West. All these areas over here in South Carolina, isolated flash flooding is possible. And other than that, that's it in terms of flash flooding. So let's go and look at the models. We're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. And from what I'm already seeing, pretty good representation of what's going on right now. It is pretty good representation for what's currently going on right now throughout the state. But if you go in and push this forward even more, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 12 o'clock in the morning, look at how that shower activity continues to go on and move its way over to the east. Now, we also have this big line right here of showers and storm activities, producing conditions all the way from Louisiana through Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia as well. Now, that's going to go down to the south. But if we continue even through 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, let me see if I can go in and try something real quick. No, that's not going to work, I don't think. Actually, that's not going to work. But, going back though, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, you see things start to thin out a little bit. You still see that light shower activity there, but it's not as bad, honestly, not really as bad. We continue through 7 o'clock in the morning, still light shower activity, not anything moderate or anything like that. Moving through 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock p.m. tomorrow, and we're not seeing anything crazy. And so you're like, you said we had a marginal risk of severe weather for tomorrow. Where is it at? Just stay with me. Just stay with me right here. So you continue your way through 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock p.m. and still just looks like shower activity. Now, remember that rainfall doesn't always just show thunderstorm activity. So there could be like a thunderstorm in this area, almost like a thunder shower. But the rainfall just might not be heavy enough. Just because you see reds and oranges and yellows on the radar does not mean that it's a thunderstorm. It could just be a bunch of rainfall. But that goes through 3, 4, 5 o'clock p.m. And now you're starting to see some of that heavier rainfall start to move its way through. And by the time we make it through, look at all this shower activity and potentially thunderstorm activity going on up here inside of like North Carolina and right along this border, because that's where the marginal risk was. The marginal risk was right on that border of South Carolina and North Carolina, Rock Hill, in those areas. But we continue through, and you start to see a good amount of rainfall, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock p.m., going over into 7 o'clock p.m., shower activity moving on a lot throughout the Midlands, a lot throughout the PD areas, Grand Strand areas. That goes all the way to 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the morning on Monday. Shower activity now throughout like in the Midlands, going throughout the PD, Grand Strand areas, even the coastal low country areas, still getting some rainfall activity as you go into like Sunday night into Monday morning. And then once we move into Monday, like 8 o'clock in the morning, look at how dry things are. Now, I still do see like some coastal activity, maybe trying to go on Monday evening, Monday late afternoon. But for the most part, I think that it's just going to be dry. Especially drier than Sunday and Saturday. Monday will be. So let's go in and look at the thunderstorm activity. Since that's just a breakdown of the convection, What about this thunderstorm activity? What about the lightning flash density here? We go in and push this through tonight, and obviously we know thunderstorm activity is going on now. I'm really just intrigued about tomorrow. But we push through. We don't start seeing that thunderstorm activity until we get to around 3, 4, 5 o'clock p.m. Now you see thunderstorm lightning going on from like the Midlands to parts of the PD areas, Grand Strait areas, parts of the Midlands again, potentially having like a little second round maybe. But a good amount of that thunderstorm activity doesn't happen until you get into like the afternoon, late evening, late afternoon, early evening, late evening time frame. And so it gets out there pretty quickly too. It gets out of there pretty quickly. You may even be talking about some thunderstorm activity near the coastal areas past midnight. So that's something to watch for as well. I'm not saying that that's going to happen 100%, but it's there. Now, in terms of severe weather, the dew points, they're there. I mean, that's not a question. We have the moisture with it. We go on and check out our 500 millibar winds. For the most part, it's there, relatively weak. So I'm not really expecting like anything like if a tornado was to occur, which I know some people have said that they think that a tornado possibly could happen. If one was to happen, even though the National Weather Service has not put out right now that there was a risk for tornadoes, it would be relatively weak. Just because the environment's just not that strong up there in the upper wind levels. And then for Cape as well, if we go on and look at that Cape, moving through all the way throughout tonight, going into tomorrow, going into tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, you can see the Cape up there. I mean, you see 1,200 joules per kilogram right there. I mean, that's marginal severe weather right there, going on all the way throughout the upstate. But that main region up here, where the marginal risk is, I mean, you see some 300s, some 400s, some 500s here and there. But a good amount of that Cape actually is happening near the low country area. There is no severe weather that's expected there, though. But you do see some Cape there, but I don't think that Cape's really going to interact with any sort of major convection for it to really get going like that. But, I mean, even as we get to 1 o'clock in the morning, I mean, you still see Cape trying to move throughout some of these areas, which brings that marginal risk. So I would not be surprised, though, if maybe they may try to move that marginal risk a little bit further to the west. We'll see what happens. This is what it currently looks like. So, would not be shocked if they try to move it to the west a little bit. So that's all that I really have to say in terms of this severe weather threat for tomorrow. Let's go on and look at the long-term future. If you have any questions about it, you can go on and ask me. But we're going to start off here where we just ended off at. This is around a good 8 o'clock p.m. here on Monday. This is where we just left off at. If we go on and push this forward, you can see Tuesday comes along. Tuesday brings in some rainfall activity. And then as you move through Wednesday calms down a little bit, but Tuesday definitely bringing in some activity. Wednesday comes along calmer. Thursday comes along, and we've been talking about Thursday and Friday of next week for like so long now, and it's crazy to think that when we were talking about this, we were like almost 400 hours out, and now it's only like 100 hours away. We are almost on the week of March, like the 12th, going to like the 13th, the 14th, the 15th as well. So we're getting closer. We're getting so close to the fact to where we can actually start talking about this being medium term, this being short term. That goes all the way through Thursday, though. You can see there goes the cold front. You can see the cold air up here on the top part. And then, I mean, this is just a classic example of a cold front. Cold air behind it. Linear system like this. I mean, this is a clear sign of a cold front moving throughout as we get into like Thursday and Friday of next week. Now, that goes on and pushes its way through. We get cooler. And usually after those systems are done, we get a high pressure system. And that's what we get. We get drier as we go through Friday, going through Saturday. And so do you know what that means? That means usually after the cold front's done and after the cold air has tried to make its stride, once that high pressure usually tries to come in, it's usually cool for a little bit, but that warm air comes back. We'll talk about when it's going to come back and, how that cold front is going to affect our weather in the long term, and how long is that cold air even going to stay in that area? We're going to talk about all of that in like another minute or two. But if we're going to continue pushing this forward, next weekend just seems just great. Dry conditions as we go throughout Saturday, going throughout Sunday. But then we start off the week going into the week after next week, Monday, March the 16th here, with some more active activity and maybe even another little cold front as we go through Tuesday. I know. Now, it is 200 plus hours out, so I'm not really going to say that this is going to happen. We don't know the effects of it right now. That's still like a week out at that point. So we still have a long ways to go there. Even as we go through March the 20th here, shows a big system maybe trying to move through as we go throughout that time frame. But for right now, I think we're just going to leave that into the future for right now. But know that it is there and that the setup is potentially there for another cold front after the one that we get on Thursday, going into like Monday and Tuesday of the week after next week. That's possible. That is possible. So let's go in and look at the temperatures. So we were just talking about these temperatures, and one of my biggest questions that I have is how is that cold front going to go on and affect our weather as we continue throughout next week, going into the week after next week. And so we start off this week above average, Sunday, Monday above average, Tuesday above average, Wednesday above average. I mean, we're 20 degrees above average like every single day. And despite the rainfall, despite the thunderstorm activity, 80s in terms of our highs are still going to happen. But we continue throughout Wednesday. We go throughout Thursday going into Friday. That's when you start to see that cool down start to really take shape as we go throughout Thursday and going into out Friday. That cold front moving its way through. But what do you notice here? You notice that cold air, as soon as we get into Friday, I mean, this is Friday, 11 o'clock in the morning right here, the cold front just came through. And we're already about 5 degrees below average at that time frame. And then you notice something else. As soon as we make it into Saturday, those temperatures immediately go right back up. They immediately go right back up. We're about 10 degrees above average during the daytime. The nighttime, it gets, around 5 to 10-ish or so. But that cold air will not last long. That cold air will not last long. We go through Sunday. We're going through Monday. I mean, we're back to 13, 14, 15 degrees above average as we get into Monday already. So that cold air is not going to last long at all. So if you are a warm weather fan, I know you are super happy to hear that. But for the most part, it looks like that if you are a cold weather fan, might not be the best thing. Might not be the best thing at all. And we'll go in and look at the actual temperatures as well. We'll see what the actual temperatures look like. But as we continue our way forward, I said another cold front will be trying to move its way through. We get through Monday. We get through Tuesday, the 16th here. Another huge cold front going to be moving its way over into the east. And look at how cold these temperatures could potentially get. Negative 20 to potentially even close to negative 25 degrees below average as we move into March the 17th. So we are still not done with cold air. We are not done with it. Even after Thursday, we are still not done with it. Still. This could be gone by tomorrow, though. I mean, we've seen time and time again to where models say, oh, it's going to be negative 20 or 20 degrees below average as we go into the next, 200 hours or so. And then the next day, it's like, oh, well, actually, it's going to be 15 degrees above average instead. So things will change. Things will continue to change as we go throughout these next couple of days. So do not take this directly as gospel right now because this is 200 plus hours out. Now you continue your way through. You just go through Wednesday. I mean, it just seems like a very cooler than average week as we go into the week after next week. Very much. I mean, even as we move into Thursday, you are still seeing temperatures 20 degrees below average. We go into Friday, still 20 degrees above average. And we're not talking about during the nighttime, really. Nighttime things get back to trying to get back to normal during the nighttime hours, but it's really during the daytime. Those high temperatures will be down. The low temperatures will be, for the most part, trying to stay, kind of like stay in their lane a little bit, trying to stay more average. It's really once we get into the daytime that we start to see those temperatures start to really just stay cooler than what they should be. But we'll continue to monitor it. Warmer air definitely coming by afterwards, though. And so if we go in and look at our temperatures, like actually, we're not looking at anomalies. These are the actual temperatures. And we start off here Sunday, 1 o'clock in the morning. We push through tomorrow, 80s. We push through Mondays, 80s. Tuesday, 80s. Wednesday, up into the 80s. Potentially maybe even the mid 80s for some. Thursday, no 80s on Thursday. That cold front will be moving through. Our temperatures are going to want to try to get up in the 80s. You're going to see them trying to rise, trying to get up into the 80s. I mean, you see like 75-ish over here near Myrtle Beach or so as you go into Thursday. So the temperatures are going to try to get up into the 80s, but that cold front, if that cold front just moved in a little bit later, we probably would be up into like the 80s or so for a good amount of us. But that cold front comes in, ruins the party, and immediately brings us cooler temperatures. And we could be talking about a potential threat of, you may actually start to see those warmer temperatures during the nighttime hours than during the daytime hours. And so we've seen that time and time again. In fact, it may actually be so warm on going into like Wednesday night that, we may see low temperatures Wednesday night at 70 degrees for some areas. So, that's what we're looking for there. And then as you move into 8 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock, 60. Like, I'm just taking Columbia as an example. I saw 70 degrees in Columbia at 2 o'clock in the morning. At 2 o'clock p.m., it's 56. That's a 16-degree increase all the way from 2 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock p.m. in 12 hours. So we are seeing definitely a flip of what we would usually see, to where we're going to have our high temperature during the nighttime, cooler temperature during the daytime. And that's going to be going into Wednesday night and Thursday. So just make sure that you are prepared for that. Going into Friday, things will continue to stay cool. I mean, we're going to see 30s coming back. 30s are coming back as you go into like Friday of next week. Friday like the 13th there. Then as you move through Saturday, I mean, we're just continuing to stay up into the 40s and 50s. But finally, Saturday comes along going into Sunday. And we start to see those temperatures get right back up into the 70s. Cooler temperatures definitely will be, still staying for the low temperatures, but high temperatures will be trying to get back up into the 70s and 80s. And then that secondary cold front moves through as we go throughout Monday, as we go throughout Tuesday, and that one definitely packs a big punch. That one packs a big punch for sure. If it stays as modeled, that one definitely packs a bigger punch than the one on Thursday. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, we may even be talking about some freezing temperatures up here in the very far upstate. Now, that is around 230 hours out, so let's go and look at the ensembles real quick, then we'll go in and talk with the audience for tonight. But if we look at the GEFS, let's go and look at the mean. So these are like average temperatures. It takes all the members, puts them together, and you see 70s, you see 30s for sure, still up there inside of the upstate. So that goes on to around Tuesday on the 17th there. Moving into Wednesday, even the ensemble has some freezing temperatures coming back for a couple of us. But for the most part, has us kind of staying in that 70 to 40 range as we continue throughout a good amount of the middle to late part of March. And then, I know I said we go talk with the audience, but I just remembered I want to check out the European, because we don't really check out the European like that much. But if we go in and look at the 12Z real quick, and just continue to push our way forward, there goes the cold front from the European model on Thursday. This one shows a good amount of 30s. I mean, throughout like the entire state. I mean, that's just how much the European model wants to bring us down into the 30s going into Thursday night and Friday morning. And it does rise back up into the 70s and 80s, but does have that cold front moving through and definitely still bringing a lot of us down to the 30s. I mean, from Colombia, down into maybe even a little bit of the very northern low country. Parts of the PD areas. Florence is included in there as well. So I think the European model has a bit more of a cooler bias compared to the GFS. But that's pretty much all I have to say here for the long-term future. Let's go in and talk with the audience. If you want to be part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, let me go into live chat so I can see everything. I'll get this out the way real quick. There we go. Alright, so Mr. Chris was here first tonight. He says, good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great day. I did. Thank you so much for asking. My Nana says, hello, Jay. Hello to you. My Aunt Lou also says, good evening, everyone. I pray that everyone had a wonderful day. I did. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Chris also says, please remember to go and hit the like button and the subscribe button. Share with everyone that you know. It's free. Helps the channel grow. Absolutely. Right now, we have around a good, 21 people that have tuned in and only 4 likes. 21 people have tuned in and we only have 4 likes. If you're a part of that group of 17, go and hit the like button. It's free. I mean, I know we have more than 4 people inside the chat. I'm counting. There's 4 on my screen right now. If here and you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Go on and do so. Mr. Michael comes in and says, happy Saturday and week in South Carolina. Thank you so much for that. Happy Saturday to you as well. Maya Lewis says, today in Georgetown, it reached around 79 degrees. Today, at my house, it reached around 82 degrees. My Nana says, a beautiful day. I got enough sun for you. Well, glad to hear that you got enough sun today and got outside today. Mr. Chris says, got you around 84 degrees here. Thank you so much for that. Milo says, currently it's around 76 degrees. 76? That's a big jump right there. At my house, it's 67. So, I mean, that's a huge jump. That's a 9-degree difference right there. 9-degree difference. That's interesting. Mr. Chris says currently 68. See, yeah, that's more what I was thinking. 68, 76. I mean, I'm not saying that you're not telling the truth, but 76 degrees right now. That is pretty warm. Like for right now. I mean, right now in Colombia, that's the warmest location I see. They're only at 70. So unless you meant something else, I think 76 is a bit too high for right now. In Georgetown, we had a beautiful day. Well, thank you so much for that weather update as well. My name says my grass is not green yet, but others yards are. I haven't really been paying attention to the grass, so actually I'd be lying if I said anything about the grass. But for the most part, I think that it is most likely we're getting back into that phase to where it's going to start turning green again, especially since it's getting warmer. She also says it was also windy as well. And then, continuing our way down, there's also a lot of sunshine. I loved it. Ms. Chris says, I'm loving this warm weather. Loving this warm weather. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And then, continuing our way down, Ms. Chris has been noticing that the pollen has been getting bad. Pollen has been getting bad here inside of Monk's Corner. Well, for the most part, it's same thing. Same thing here at my house as well. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of pollen, especially on cars as well. Especially on cars. So the pollen season is here, and it's starting to get back up. So make sure that you are taking action there if you need to. Churro says, greetings everyone, greetings to you. And then rainfall and thunderstorms on the way. That fine wave would help with the pollen, absolutely. That says, good evening, just from the 360 Weather family. Good evening to you. I trust all as well. I was kind of cooler than a normal day here in San Antonio. Not sure if it even reached 70. And then we did receive some thunderstorms with hail. It rained pretty good. Well, that severe thunderstorm area forecast was correct. And it did verify for you. Hopefully the rain will continue to water these plants and grass. Also, if you got any pictures of it, or if you know anybody that got some pictures, go on and send them in. I didn't see anything on my email when I started, but I will check again. I was able to get out and blow all the leaves and debris away from my front porch and driveway prior to it raining. Looked way better than it did. Well, glad to hear that as well. When Georgetown gets thunderstorms, sometimes according to how bad it is, the power is turned off. It's almost time where the thunderstorms here in Moncks Corner. You can set your watch by then. And then, while that's cold, negative or 20 degrees below average, prayerfully, that would change to a higher degrees. And then, oops, it's currently 66. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. 66 makes a lot more sense than 76 right now. I sent some pictures. Well, I will go on and get it pulled up right now so I do not forget. I did get the pictures, but you're right. I did not get a video. I did get pictures, though. But speaking of San Antonio, we're going to go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations, what am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and talk about them for them. So we're going to start off with San Antonio first. Low temperatures tonight around 57. High temperatures for tomorrow at around 71. And then low temperatures for tomorrow night at 63. Severe thunderstorms are expected. You already received your bunch. And it looks like for the most part that you're done. You're out of the severe thunderstorm watch for now. But you are done with it. Chance of thunderstorms still tomorrow, though. So you're still not done with thunderstorm activity. And shower activity is possible tomorrow night as well. Now, in terms of your severe weather, in terms of your excessive rainfall, it looks like that you, for the most part, are done. You don't have any sort of severe weather. But excessive rainfall, that is, for the most part, they got rid of the main threat for tonight. So it looks like that you're good there. And after that, you're good. So nothing there either. SPC outlook for... Not SPC outlook, but stuff for your future. Looks like for the most part that you will continue to stay up into the 80s. You did get into the 70s for tomorrow. You will just stay in the 70s for tomorrow. And for your high temperature for today, because I know you were talking about it, your high temperature for today was actually, according to the weather station they have at the National Weather Service, they said it got up to 80, 81. So... you know, maybe it's a further distance away. They're getting it from Kelly Field. So I don't know if you know where that is, but that's where they're getting the forecast from. And that's where the weather station is at. And the weather station there got up to 80 degrees. So that's just what they have. But continuing, you know, you'll be back up into the 80s as you go into next week. And then you'll be back down into the 70s a little bit as you go into... potentially on Thursday, but then you'll go right back up to the 80s. I mean, maybe even close to 90 as you go into next weekend. For your rainfall will continue for you all the way throughout Wednesday, but then once you get to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that's when it will stay dry. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight around 65, high temperatures for tomorrow at around 78, and then low temperatures for tomorrow night at around 59. Precipitation not expected at this time. And for tomorrow, showers are likely. Tomorrow night, chance of showers as well. Now, for your severe weather, for your excessive rainfall, you do have a risk of severe weather tomorrow. It's a marginal risk, lowest of the low. What are your hazards for it? Right now, it looks like that your main hazards are just potentially damaging winds. That's usually everybody's main risk, usually. But for you, damaging winds. And then in terms of other risk, seems like you also... Actually, no, that's it. Actually, it's just damaging... No, there is damaging hail. No, I take that back. There is damaging hail there as you go into tomorrow. So make sure that you're watching out isolated damaging wind gusts, isolated damaging hail of up to an inch in diameter as possible. Excessive rainfall for you, not expected at this time, so you are good as well. Now, in terms of your future... looks like that you will continue to kind of be in the 70s and may even get up to the mid-80s. I mean, Wednesday, 85 degrees. But it will cool back down due to that cold front. Cold front will come along, and it will knock things right back down. I mean, you're going to have low temperatures back down to the 30s by the time you get into Thursday night. Rainfall will continue Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then rain is likely on Thursday. Then for Philadelphia, low temperatures for tonight around 50, high temperatures for tomorrow at around 68, and then low temperatures for tomorrow night at around 42. Showers likely tonight, and then tomorrow chance of showers there. Now, one thing that you will see is a rise in temperatures. Right now it's 51 degrees, but temperatures will rise tonight, and it actually will be around 57 degrees by 4 o'clock in the morning. So instead of your temperatures going down tonight, they're actually going to go up tonight. Yes, I know, it kind of sounds weird, but your temperatures will be going up tonight instead of down. And then it will continue, obviously, to go up as you go into the daytime as well. Now, in terms of severe weather and excessive rainfall, nothing there. You continue to stay dry all the way through Wednesday. Wednesday night comes along, going into Thursday. You have a 60% chance of rain there. Friday as well also have a little 30%, but nothing too crazy. And you actually will cool right back down. You're going to get back to being below freezing after you get into like Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday, low temperatures around 32, so you will be cooling back down. And then finally for Duncan, Oklahoma, low temperatures tonight at 38, high temperatures for tomorrow at around 72, and then low temperatures for tomorrow night at 52. Precipitation not expected. You do have a chance for some severe weather, a slight risk of severe weather on Tuesday, March the 10th. So that is, again, already a slight risk. That means that you really do have to pay attention to it, and it's for pretty much most of the state of Oklahoma. Oklahoma City's included, Norman's included, Tulsa, Hugo, Oklahoma as well. And so that is for, again, Tuesday, meaning that the fact that they're this confident this far out means that you really have to pay attention for this. And then for your future in general, looks like that you will actually cool back down Wednesday. Your high is only going to be up into like the upper 60s. And then you'll like jump right back up the next day, Friday, 80 degrees. So you will continue to kind of go right back up. Now for the entire U.S. weather news-wise, that includes South Carolina and the 4 areas we just talked about. A frontal boundary will slowly move east and clear most of the eastern seaboard by Sunday. Showers and thunderstorms, some severe, will accompany this front alongside the threat of heavy rainfall. These threats may linger across the Gulf Coast states into early next week. Meanwhile, record spring-like warmth is forecasted, mainly east of the Mississippi River, this weekend into next week. We also do have some fire weather, some critical fire weather going on. Panhandle of Texas, parts of the Panhandle of Oklahoma, eastern New Mexico. Some high winds going on up there inside of the northern Rockies, going on over in Montana. Down inside of California, they're also getting some high winds. Southern Nevada and Las Vegas, they're getting gusty winds as well. With gusts as high as, well, actually, I think it's like actually just about to end tonight. But for the most part, it's still there. So we're still going to say that it's there. And that's all that I can really see here. Nothing else. The other thing that most people are talking about, the severe weather risk, obviously our risk, North Carolina's risk tomorrow, marginal risk Monday for parts of the deep south, parts of eastern Texas and eastern Oklahoma, even though, like I said, it's a marginal risk. But the main threats being on Tuesday and on Wednesday as well. Those 2 days right there, if you know anybody all the way from Dallas, Fort Worth, Indianapolis, Austin, Oklahoma City, going on over into St. Louis, Kansas City, going on over just in like Peoria, let them know they have a threat on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland, Memphis, Tennessee, a good amount of pretty much the entire state of Kentucky, Pittsburgh, Nashville, Tennessee, and even up there inside of like Greenville, Mississippi, and then even in northern Louisiana. If you know anybody inside of those areas, let them know as well. Severe weather is coming for them on Wednesday. And that's for the most part. That's all I can see here. Top fans of the night for tonight. We're about to show Thad's picture in just a second. But top fans of the night for tonight. It was still that back and forth competition. But just taking a good little glance, even though it was pretty close. I see around 5, 6. That's 10, 11, 12. I see 12. And then I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It was a tie, technically, but Mr. Chris was here first. So he is the winner for tonight. Maya Lou is at number 2. And then Thad was at number 3, easily. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. So he's at number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, being a subscriber to the channel, because if you're not a subscriber, you can't type. and being here early and being active. If you do all 4 of those things, you guaranteed will be on that top 3 list, unless it's just a really competitive night. So let's go in and give everybody a round of applause. And that's all I can see here. Remember, tonight, that time does spring forward. So remember that is the case for tonight. So if you have not already set your clocks for it already, go in and do so. But here at Thad's picture, here's the first one. There's no caption, it just says thunderstorms. So here's the first one. Here's the temperature that he had around a good, that is around, I think that says like 54. I don't know if it was that cold. Yeah, I don't know if it was that cold. 54, that's pretty low. I don't know if it was that low, unless that was like very, very early and that was like your low temperature from like last night going to like this morning. But even your low temperature like for like tonight's like 57. So I guess maybe if it was from this morning, but that's like pretty low. And then here's his other picture that he sent. I guess this is either the side yard, backyard. And it has rainfall. He said it also was hailing a little bit. That might be a little bit of a hailstone right there, if I'm not mistaken. And then another picture that he sent right here as well. So thank you so much for these weather pictures. If you want to go in and send me a picture, you can by sending it to scweather360@gmail.com. Again, that is scweather360@gmail.com. I will be back tomorrow morning with your Sunday morning forecast update. Make sure that you are there. And also, make sure that you are here tomorrow evening for your Sunday evening forecast update, because that is the week forecast update for the week of Sunday, March the 8th, going into Saturday, March the 14th. So that forecast will be tomorrow night. If you want to know the forecast for the week, tune in tomorrow night. Invite people. It's beginning of the week. And that's all that I have to say. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow. And everyone, have a fantastic rest of your Saturday evening. Hit those 2 buttons before you leave if you're new.